How can you make $1,000 to $10,000 a month during a recession? That is exactly what we are going to cover in this video. Now, first and foremost, you must understand that a recession is coming. That is almost a fact at this point. How severe? That is still uncertain. But regardless, a recession is very likely based on the available data. Now, do I personally think a recession is coming? No, I don't. I think if everyone plans for a recession, it's very difficult for a recession to happen. But good finance is about following the data, not personal opinions. And that data says a recession is on its way. So regardless of how I feel or how you feel, we should prepare for one. So in this video, let's cover some clever ways to make money during a recession. And then, more importantly, let's talk about what you should do with that money. Because if you play your cards right, a recession can actually be your launching point into wealth, as it has been for many peoples for many cycles. As always, my name is Derek and I got my degree in finance, so you don't have to. Let's get right into the video. So first things first, the easiest way to make money in a recession is to not get fired. Of course, I'm kidding, but only partly. Before a recession is when you should be asking yourself how recession-proof your job is and how recession-proof you are at your job. 3 questions. Is your company essential or financially strong? And is your job easily replaced? And if it isn't, are you easily replaced? If you answered yes to the first question and no to the next 2, then you are in a solid position to remain employed during a recession. But if your answers are the opposite, you need to consider the possibility that you may be laid off during a recession, which makes the rest of this video even more important. Anyways, for everyone, remember that the #1 threat during a recession is losing your job. And regardless of whether you are at risk or not, during a recession, money is usually tight. And being able to generate more can quite literally make the difference. Now, one more thing before we go into the actual methods of making money. You need to be saving, if possible, before a recession starts. Saving not only gives you a safety net, but allows you to be cash heavy going into a recession. And that is a good place to be, as you will see later on in this video. Okay, now that we got that out of the way, what are some ways that you can actually generate money with during a recession? We're going to group these into 3 categories: services, products, and skills. Now, what you actually choose to go with depends on you and what you know. So let's begin. During a recession, what tends to happen is people get fired and companies cut production. That creates both needs and gaps in the market. A recession also tends to push us towards gig economics, basically doing freelance work as opposed to employed work. So the first section, services, takes advantage of this. Now, what service? Well, because of company cutting and people getting fired, there is usually less availability for skilled work. So if you have a skill of any sort, you can market that in your city. And since you will not have the same overhead as a big company, you should be able to undercut their prices and still turn a profit. Now, the one service that comes to mind strongly is being a handyman or woman, or whatever you identify as. I don't really think people will give a shit what you identify as long as you can fix their problem. Just make sure you're a handy person, not a handsy person. Most people probably don't want that, unless that's what they actually hired you for. Anyways, there is some good news here. Being a handyman can actually be quite lucrative, and some make, I kid you not, $1,000 plus every single day. The other thing about being a handyman is it's kind of a catch-all. You might be saying, well, I don't know how to fix things. Okay, but do you know how to change oil or change brakes? Or perhaps you're good with tech. You think someone would rather pay you $85 for you to come to their house and change their oil, or pay $250 to have to drive to the dealer to get it done? What about computers? As someone who lives on a computer, I can tell you that most problems are pretty easy to fix. And again, you think someone wants to pay you $50 to come to their house and fix it? Or would they rather have to call the Geek Squad for a ton more money? Especially during a recession when money is tight. The point is, if you know how to do something with a little bit of clever marketing, you can make a hell of a lot of money. Okay, now what about making money with products? Well, there are a couple of subcategories to this. You can make your own product or you can sell someone else's. Now, making your own product might be very easy for some, but if you're brand new to this, selling someone else's product might be the way to go. This is known as affiliate marketing, and I do have a video entirely on this, so make sure to go check it out after this video. Regardless, the actual process of selling either your product or someone else's is very similar, especially if you're talking about online. We do this through a process known as funneling, and it's basically something that every single business on the planet uses. Now, to be 100% honest, a funnel is a very complicated subject, and it encompasses software, tactics, theories, and advertising. I will say this, I have extensive knowledge when it comes to funneling, and I am more than willing to share it with all of you, but it does require its own video. So I think the next video in this series will be a deep dive into funnels and how to build them. So make sure to subscribe so you don't miss that video. Anyways, back to this. All funnels start with marketing. And the good news is that during a recession, usually advertising costs plummet. So whether you are selling your own product or someone else's, when you go to market that product on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, etc., the costs should be lower and in your favor. If you learn about funnels and how to use online advertising, a single funnel can quite literally make you $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 a month and well beyond. And I am speaking directly from experience when it comes to this. Ugh, I'm getting excited to make that funnels video. I think it'll help you a ton. Okay, anyways, now let's talk about skills. If you have a skill, as in something that not anyone can learn without extensive training, could be coding, design, website development, advertising, something that not everyone can just do, something that takes training or a knack for it, then you have what is known as a skill. And skills are valuable, and you can sell them. And a lot of them, especially if they are computer-based, can be done right from your home. And there is already a marketplace for this, and it's known as Fiverr. It's an online marketplace where people can list their skills and bid on jobs that people need done based on that skill. Fiverr is in essence a giant gig economy marketplace. Now, under normal circumstances, maybe there are better ways to use those skills. But in a recession, when gigs outpace regular jobs, this is an excellent way to generate extra cash. And again, the possibilities are high. Many people earn a full-time income on Fiverr. But like any marketplace, competition is the name of the game. And it takes time to build a reputation as someone reliable and reputable. So the best time to start with this is before a recession. So you have time to build up your rapport. So if you have a skill, it may be a good idea to get familiar with this platform and maybe even bid on a couple of jobs. Okay. Now I want to talk about what I truly believe is extremely important when it comes to a recession, and that is how to use it to get rich. And while everything has risk, getting rich during a recession has been proven cycle after cycle after cycle to work. Okay, then why don't more people get rich during recessions? Well, simply put, we are creatures of habit, and habits hold us back, especially when it comes to fear. We are biologically designed to fear things that can threaten our livelihood. It is how we used to survive, and a recession is a modern-day threat to our livelihood. So humans, time and time again, believe that this is it, that this is the end of the world as we know it. They save their money, they hoard their assets, and they pull back investment. And this is the exact reason why markets fall, real estate gets cheaper, and the economy comes grinding to a halt in the first place. Because people act a certain way in certain situations, no matter how many times they go through them. But if you can break out of that mindset, you can start to use recessions as a wealth-creating opportunity. But in order to do that, you need to be cash heavy, which is why saving is important. Keeping your job also helps because steady income looks good for lenders. And both cash and borrowing are the basis for creating wealth during a recession. And all you have to do to see this is to look at the last recession of 2008. Purely looking at it from a financial standpoint, did the markets recover? What about real estate? Did the stock market surpass the previous high that was set in 2007? Yes, yes, and yes, absolutely. What about the previous tech bubble crash of 2001? Or what about the recession a decade earlier? Yes. Yet during those times, the markets went down. And if you could go back in time and talk to people, a lot of them thought that this was the end, that it was over, that the US and the economy as we know it was doomed. And if you ask more people, they were at the very least scared. Very scared. And yet, it's never over. The markets always recover. Stocks always recover. Real estate always recovers. And yes, there is pain and people lose their jobs and times are tough. But the markets always recover. And if for some reason they don't, then we have a much more serious problem on our hands. A problem where money probably won't be worth anything anyways. So use this knowledge, use the history of cycles, and understand that based purely on data, there's probably no better time to get ultra rich than during a recession. I hope this video was informative and enlightening. I love this stuff, you guys. Personal finance, business, investing, they've all been my passion for over a decade, and I love being able to share them with you. If you like money, personal finance, investing, business, then I think you'd love the channel because it's all we talk about. So feel free to subscribe and turn on the bell notification if you haven't already so you don't miss the next video. I love you guys, I really do, and I wish you nothing but the absolute best in your personal finance journey. And again, my name is Derek and I got my degree in finance so you don't have to, and I will see you in the next video.